Hey YouTube, it's Nick here. Welcome back to the channel. So we are just going to be talking about Bitcoin today. So it's going to be very quick and straight to the point. We're going to cover my holdings. We're also going to be covering basically do your own research, DYOR. I don't know if anyone's made that, but I made it, so there you go. And then basically we're going to talk about is the bear market over. Now let's jump straight into it. Now this right here is my overall portfolio. I have a mix of not only crypto, crypto dominates it. It's about 74% of my entire portfolio. And then we have equities as well too. I do videos about that. You can check them all out on my channel. I'll probably have a playlist when this one's over where you can kind of cover the journey basically. But the whole point with all of this is that is crypto, or even not just crypto, but is Bitcoin still worth buying in 2026? Now we got the fear and greed index here for Bitcoin, and we're in greed territory. So if you do know anything about this, but if you don't, basically what this means is that there's euphoria coming into the market. There's FOMO. People are scared to miss out on what's happening. We recently had $125,000 all-time high, which it wasn't euphoric last year, but we still had the all-time high. Now, the whole point of Bitcoin that you need to know is that this is a scarce digital asset. The main thing that you need to know is that it's not backed by some entity or business or anything like that. And there's more research that you have to do, but that's the main thing you need to know. So there's not something necessarily that someone can say that can make the price go high. Like, yeah, you have maybe the closest person to that is Michael Saylor with his micro strategy company, but at the gist and at its core, this is something that doesn't have anyone that can like sell it off and kind of destroy the price or anything like that and dump on you, like let's say Ethereum or XRP or anything like that. Now, a second thing that you need to know is that it's a scarce digital asset. There's only 21 million of these coins. And at some point we might not even be alive when it happens. But once the last one is generated and like created, there will be no more. And so many people have bought this where there's probably not, some people speculate that there's like 7 to 8 or 9 million of the coins that had never, that they're just lost forever, right? So you only have maybe 19 that you can actually borrow. But the main thing that you need to know is that it's a scarce digital asset, that your money, fiat currency, it loses its buying power every single day. Every day. Everything up, everything around you is up. Prices for gas, food, and at the same time, you make as much money as more people have ever had in history. Keep that in mind. But yet, at the same time, you don't have that much left over from your paycheck. Where things like Bitcoin, for example, come into play is that it's not constantly printed. People can't just generate, you can't just generate more Bitcoin out of thin air. And that's the main thing. And that's what gives it its value. Now, this isn't going to be a whole Bitcoin maxi video. I'm not going to dive into anything, but the main thing you need to know is that this isn't backed by any entity. It's a scarce asset, similar to gold. That's another scarce asset that, even though it's scarce, but it's not truly scarce because you can always find more. The supply of gold goes up, and I'm not like I'm not against gold either. I buy gold. It's just tokenized gold. Say what you will, but I believe in gold as well. But I believe in Bitcoin as well too. And the whole point is that you have to do your own research when it comes to something like this. Is that it took me a long time to actually understand like what it is, like what it was that I was buying. Like I would buy it sometimes here and there in 2020, and then when I was up and around like 2020 two, or 2022 or 2023, I sold it, and I wish I never did it, but I needed the cash at the time. But as I learned more and I did more research, I finally understood like what it is that this whole thing was. There's only 21 million. Like that's what did it for me, is that there was only 21 million. I don't know why that clicked. Now I read some books. I read like the what's the book? I forget what it is, but there's a book where it basically talks about how money was back then, how we value things, and basically how Bitcoin kind of revolutionizes all of this. Now, should you put your life savings into it? I'm not telling you to do that, but I have a video where I basically talk about a low cost effort way where it's essentially free. You don't even have to put your own money into this, so where you can generate your own Bitcoin. Now, the whole gist of this will be in the video up here, but the main thing that you need to know is that basically what I do is that I use a debit card that gives me cash back in Bitcoin, and then I also hold a token called USDC that gives me yield in Bitcoin. So I have two ways that I'm accumulating Bitcoin, at least for this month. This isn't necessarily like the whole way I do it, but at least for this month, where I'm generating Bitcoin, or no, basically getting Bitcoin, and I'm not even putting money into the market to get the Bitcoin, if that makes sense. If you want to learn more about that, the link to that video will be up here on the card. And then if you also want to earn some free Bitcoin and you never even like done anything like this before, a link to Coinbase, one of the top crypto, it's the top crypto exchange. Other than Binance, it's the top crypto exchange. One of the top. Crypto exchanges will be in the link in the description, and you can earn Bitcoin by just trading a little bit. But the main thing is that this is an asset that is 100% worth buying. Now, should you put a lot of capital into this? That depends on your time horizon and how long you want to hold it. But this is a volatile asset. It isn't necessarily like the S&P 500, or even if you're buying individual companies necessarily. There's no balance sheet. It doesn't generate like revenue. So it's not it's a different game. But should you buy this in 2026? Yes. This is the best time. And if you look at the statistics, now I didn't do the research on this particular thing, but I've listened to a lot of people who have a lot of knowledge in this, is that basically this is the time, the second half of the midterm year, this is the best time to DCA into Bitcoin, and you generally will have a good return. Now, if you want to sell it, that's on you. Personally, I don't think you should sell it. Another thing that Coinbase does is that they let you borrow against your Bitcoin stack. So if you do need the capital, you can borrow against it, and it's best to buy it during a bear market, so that way when it does go high, you have more that you can borrow from. But that's the whole game that a lot of people that make lots of money play. They don't necessarily sell their assets, especially if it's like their house or something. They borrow against the asset to have more cash flow, and they never pay it back. You buy, borrow, and die. That's the whole strategy. If you look that up, there's lots of people that make videos about this. So that's my verdict on this. Should you buy it in 2026? Yes. Just be skeptical and don't FOMO in right now. We're at 71% greed. The VIX is at 15. So like this is like you might want to wait a little bit. But my main thing to tell you is that do a little bit of research and actually understand how not only your money works, and how actually Bitcoin can be one of the things and one of the drivers that can kind of free you from the rat race, if that makes sense. It's no longer at the old prices that it used to be, right? Where it was like $900. I remember when I was in college, this thing was like at $900. And I wish I understood what it was. And if I could have bought it, I definitely would have back in 2017. Like I graduated high school around this time. Man, I wish I knew. But I will say this, it's not too late. It's not too late. Like the video if you did, especially if you learned something, subscribe if you're new, and I will catch you on the next. And, hey, let me know. Do you even buy Bitcoin? You don't have to tell me you're holding. That's like one of the number one things people tell you. Never tell people how much you have. I don't care about that. But do you believe in it, or do you think it's a scam? If you do, that's fair too. Put that in the comments. But hope you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.